Hello, guys. Welcome this evening. This is a late show. If you're up, thank you for watching. And if you're not, you'll catch us on the next day. Thank you for viewing anyway. So, welcome, Alessandra Nicholson from the Candray Institute, and I'm Sterile MD. Thank you guys for joining. So, we have a few topics, but I want to get into the news. I have a new segment I'm trying to launch here. So, we'll definitely get into that. And then Alessandra, what other topics do we have going on tonight?
We just wanted to do a little catch up on Q&As that we've seen in the group. So we want to talk a little bit about IFUs, whether or not you can modify them, talk about some of the tools that people have dropped off in the process group, and then have a little conversation about our favorite topic, which is pay.
Woo, woo, woo.
And
So let's get into the process download news. All right, guys, we'll be right back. So, guys, I'm back. So, this is the process download news, a little segment we're going to be having within the podcast. So, courtesy of ABC News in Florida, Florida's COVID positivity rate has went up 11% in the last week. And that's mainly because of the Delta variant, which has a shorter incubation period and is a stronger virus overall. So, they're calling it COVID 2.0, and the reasons being that all accounts squarely base this on the majority of persons who have it are unvaccinated. So, um, this is a major issue in Florida right now. At Miami's public hospital, Jackson Memorial, 42% of the staff at that facility was still not vaccinated. So, a statement from Carlos Magoya, the CEO of Jacksonville Health System, was as to why this was. Why are so many persons at his facility, at his health system, unvaccinated? And I quote from Mr. Magoya. Jackson employees are no different than others in the streets. Everyone listens to rumors, and being in the healthcare business, they create more rumors, which is part of the reason why numbers are so low in terms of vaccinating. End quote. As of Wednesday, Jackson Memorial had 146 patients hospitalized, confirming to have COVID. And of those 146 patients, 91% of them are unvaccinated. So definitely, vaccinations does definitely plays a part in the COVID rate. In the intensive care unit, 95% of those persons are unvaccinated, said Dr. Lillian Abu with Jacksonville Health System or Jackson Health System. So we're going to go into, being that we're so late tonight, we do apologize. We'll go
well,
into
with the
our
COVID-19, there, just want to remind everybody about the other interventions because there is, we do have these new variants, but you do see people kind of forgetting. If I'll say y'all forgot how long,
Mhm,
to wash your hands or making sure you're
mhm.
staying hydrated, get out there in the sun, get some vitamin D, take care of your overall health as well.
Definitely, definitely. So a feel good story on that, courtesy of ABC News in Philadelphia. In June 2021, Philadelphia, Sonny Jackson works as an injury prevention coordinator for the trauma center at Penn in West Philadelphia. Knowing how the gun violence epidemic is plaguing the city and seeing the effects it has on the families, she wanted to team up with Philadelphia police officers, Police District 16, which she deals with regularly, to do something for the neighborhood. So she teamed up with Officer Jenny Decky to talk about how she could do something as simple as helping the kids with bikes, giving them bikes. So what they did was over a 6 month period, the two collected nearly 100 bikes for the neighborhood kids, and gave them out for free. So one of the kids said, and you could look this up, ABC News Philadelphia. One of the recipients, a 10-year-old David Trotman, said, "Having a new bike will make my summer." So that's definitely a positive. So that's our
Okay.
feel good story, and that's the end of our news segment. So we will be right back.
I was jamming.
Guys, welcome back. Alessandra, let's get into the topics
A
for
little
tonight.
bit of Q&A. So we are catching up on Q&As from the process group. We have a couple for upcoming episodes. I know one of the big conversations I think we left off with last was why there's such a pay disparity for SPD. So we'll be getting that together for you guys, doing a little research, make sure we have all the facts and get the process correct. We'll come back with that. Something else that I saw in the group this week that was a pretty healthy conversation was, can surgeons bring modified instruments into the OR, into the SPD without an updated IFU? So I believe the original question was from Veronica, and I want to say that they're. I'm gonna try to pull it up. I want to say that they did have the original manufacturer's IFU, but they did not have anything updated for this modification. So I know we all drilled down in group project and got to the right answer in the process group, but just for those of you that are catching up, the answer is no. They cannot bring modified instruments into the OR without an IFU. That being said, it's all going to be hospital based policy. So you're going to want to check with your powers that be, whether that's your SPD manager or your peri-op director, your infection control managers, or risk. But definitely follow the chain of command and find out where your hospital's policy lies. If you do find that your hospital is allowing for that, it might be a good opportunity to, do some education, maybe put together a small presentation and try to see if you can move the ball forward. Something else, or what do you think about that, D? Do you think that's pretty reasonable? Like, try to address it or just kind of leave it alone?
I have an experience with. Let me go back in time. I had experience with a surgeon who was really techy, really good with his hands. Um, and he had issues. He was an ortho guy, and he had issues with getting things set up exactly how he wanted to make his cuts and stuff. So he had his own home garage, his own workshop. So what he would do on his free time, he would figure out welding and little gadgets. Go home, weld little pieces together, and then bring it back and say, hey, can you sterilize this? It's I got this little bolt with the little angle at the end where I could just put this in, and this would help me out even more, so I could get my stuff done much quicker. And I'll tell him, no, you can't do that. And he was like, well, the other the other management person who was there the last time, I had no problem with getting it sterilized. So what's the problem now? So,
Ooh, how many times have you heard that one?
so um, So I couldn't, long story short, we didn't get that done for him, and he was disappointed. So I do have experience with that, and that's definitely a no if you ever had a surgeon ask you to do that. So
Absolutely. I mean, At the end of the day, I try to always think about things from the perspective of the patient. And if I were in that position as a patient and you came into my room and you asked me about that, I would tell you no. Like, oh, wait, you want to sterilize it, you want to wash it, but you actually don't have the same piece of paper that you have for everything else. No, no, I'll pass. Thank you. But I appreciate it. It's unfortunate that they don't have that level of control because I think if patients understood what sterile processing is and what we do, we would probably do a whole lot of things very different. But also one of the things that kind of popped into my mind as you were saying that famous line of, the previous manager allowed it. It really does set the tone that your legacy, if you will, as a leader will follow you. Um, and I mean follow you in the sense that whatever practices you put into place at that facility are going to remain until someone challenges them and changes them. So if you do make it a habit of just kind of going the easy route and letting things go, somebody eventually is going to have to deal with that. So,
Hmm.
I mean, you got to pick which hills you're going to die on, as they say out there, but also just be mindful of that. Just because, you had an easy day that day and said yes, somebody else is going to have to challenge that.
Definitely. Definitely agree with that.
And it's uncomfortable sometimes to be the one to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. 4 or 5 managers ahead of me told you that that was okay, but I have to be the one to tell you today that it's not, and it never was actually."
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Like it's kind of that's a lot.
Yeah, and I believe the way you approach the situation is always helps too. If
Yes.
you're gonna be, I know we have some diehard passionate people out there now. If you're gonna approach it like, oh my God, this is the worst thing you could ever do, you can't change the past, but you can certainly change the future. Um, just form some rapport with that surgeon and just let them know exactly your reasoning
And show
and
them your
maybe
science.
the
If you need to,
previous
show them your standards.
and maybe the reasoning, possible reasoning of the person who allowed it previously, and then that
Yeah,
would be a smoother conversation. It's all how you approach it, and how you word it.
absolutely.
So
Right? Speak life into the situation instead of making it like a big complaining session. Well, such and such and da da da. Okay, well,
exactly,
we have a
exactly.
patient, so what are we doing now?
Yeah, and in my situation, he turned out to be a really cool dude. And he wanted to do things for the patient that he felt was best. That's how he looked at it. That's the standpoint
Absolutely.
he looked at it from. He went home, he welded some pieces. He wasn't looking at like, well, I'm going to cut corners.
Right.
He was trying to create better outcomes for the patient, and that was his way of doing it. So,
That's so
um,
important, so valuable and important to say because that's where that common language we hear all the time, consensus building, that's where that comes from. Because you're gonna have all these different health experts that are coming to it, at a different angle, but everybody has the same goal. They want good patient
mhm,
outcomes. So, if I'm over here making the best tool and I'm only focused on the SPD portion of it, I may miss out on things that make it good for the nurse or make it good for the scrub
exa-
tech or the surgeon. We have to consider
exactly,
each other.
exactly.
All
True.
right. Another question that came up along this IFU modification um, line was it whether or not you can cut your Kim guard or your wrap to size. And so was pretty excited to see a lot of SPD folks come into the chat and say, no, you can't do that. And pretty succinctly let everybody know that once you modify that product from the way you received it, you have now compromised that IFU. It's almost like a vendor warranty. Like if you break that thing from its original packaging, now the whole warranty is void. It's like it's a whole new product that doesn't even exist on the market. So, so no, unfortunately, you can't do that. Most KimGuard products do come. The smallest size I think I've seen so far is 12 inches. But definitely check in with your SPD leadership, your OR leadership, if you need some smaller sized wrap. Otherwise, lean on those vets because they get very creative. They get very creative with those rap techniques. All right. And then just some good tools and resources because we are always looking for the best tools to get the job done. Celindra Bearfield dropped off a 1 year calendar for goal setting and tracking. So you can find that in the process group. Just take a look for Celindra. She's always dropping off good goodies for jobs, tips for interviews. I saw this week. But this goal setting calendar really caught my eye because, as a leader, especially, but I know a lot of us have different projects, different businesses we're trying to launch now, especially in the height of the pandemic. Having something, a year long tracker would help me a lot in being able to just map out everything that I'm doing for my department, for the podcast, for all these different projects that we have going on right now. So check that out in the group. All right. And then the next thing that we saw coming up, I think it's just kind of an old conversation for us, if you will, but very current right now because a lot of people are talking about salaries. And so one of the questions that came up was why the SPD salary is so stagnant. So there were a bunch of different opinions. Some folks were saying, just by region. Some folks were saying, we just haven't been recognized. People don't know what we do. So we definitely want to bring that back in a future podcast episode. You guys can check back and the old episodes on YouTube if you want to see some of the past conversations that we've had about SPD and the salary gap that we are currently facing. You can get some opinions from Jeffrey Wilkins, from Celindra Bearfield, from Des Esnard. Check that out. But we will be doing an updated episode for you guys just based on some of the conversation that have been happening around C suite. So, one of the things I wanted to shout out is on Saturdays, every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, a big group of SPD technicians from all over the world, all over the country, are getting together to just walk, just kind of walk and talk with our SPD family, with our SPD community about issues that we're facing today. Some folks hop on and they are just catching up on their break time, just saying hello to the process family. Some folks are there every Saturday with the most impeccable advice, the funniest stories. Woo, they be cutting up. They be cutting up on Saturday, so you guys should definitely join us. But I bring that up because one of the folks that joins us quite often and that has educated the process group very heavily about salary in the business of healthcare is Leslie. Y'all see Leslie in our comment section from time to time. um, but she joins us every Saturday on the process walk, and she will be hosting a clubhouse SPD talk tomorrow around some of the business of surgery. So if you guys are not familiar with how the OR makes its money, how the hospitals make their money, I would definitely encourage you to come join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time in the clubhouse, the SPD group. Just go on Clubhouse and search for SPD. If you need any connection getting into Clubhouse, whether you're on Android or Apple products, reach out. You can find Leslie in the group. I know I saw she has some invites. You guys can reach out our way and we'll help you get in. But I think it's going to be a really, really game changing conversation, because so far a lot of the conversation has been about SPD, what we're doing, what we can do to raise our salaries. Last week we had Hank Bosch on. We talked to him a little bit about what are some practical tools that SPD techs can use, SPD leadership can use to go in and advocate for higher base salaries for the technicians, or even bonuses or different things of that nature, whatever it is you guys feel like it is that you need. So check that out. That will be a good conversation. And then we will definitely be having Leslie come on to the show. We want to pick her brain. We D and I do it every Saturday. So you guys are missing out. So come check her out. I think it's gonna be great. I know Sarah's gonna be on there. It's a lot of cool folks that are in that space that are having some really powerful conversations. The last one that I joined was around burnout, and I think that that is such an important conversation up against this conversation about salary because part of the issue that we're facing is that these salaries are so low that people have to work crazy hours, or because this job is just so challenging and so understaffed or so under resourced, people are stressed and are being burnt out, especially with the pandemic. So it's interesting to see how those two things go together. And we really like to hold that safe space on the Saturdays so that we can just decompress, get outside, see a flower, look at some water, take a walk, talk about SPD, talk about whatever we want, our families, other things that are going on in our lives so we can just de stress. All right, so come check us out Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. If you guys aren't already on Clubhouse, please join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. and support our girl Leslie from the Process Group. We're so freaking excited. I'm like, woo, when you talking about SPD nerd, I'm like fangirling. I cannot wait because I've learned so much about the billing, about CPT codes, about the reimbursements. Definitely let me go find this link. I'm gonna drop this link. I just put into the group chat a link for statistics on how many healthcare workers have contracted COVID-19 at your facility. I know D covered some of that. Or in your state, excuse me, not your facility, but in your state level. I know he covered that a little bit in the news, so that's there. But Leslie also dropped a really interesting link in the group a few days ago that can talk to you about which hospitals by name are have been sanctioned, if you will, from. I hope that's. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't want to use incorrect language. See, that's what we're gonna have Leslie on because I'm learning and she's the expert, and we want to get it right at the process. So but there's some type of sanction or some type of cost issue that comes to these different hospitals if they have been found to have incorrect coding going back to CMS. So it was really interesting. It was easy to hop on there and type in the name of your facility and see how many years some of them have made the naughty list, if you will. Definitely also interesting to see who had been on there and when and were able to get off. So I'm curious to learn more about that, how you get there and how you get off. Welcome back, D.
I'm
Oh,
back.
well, So, we were just talking a little bit about Leslie hopping onto Clubhouse and folks coming to see us on Saturday. And then I just kind of want to wrap up in this conversation about pay with some immigration news.
Oh,
So today, yes. So today on PBS Hour, I spent some time watching the Senate discuss the farmhouse bill, farm workers bill, if in which they are discussing legalizing immigration for farm workers that have been deemed essential workers during the pandemic. Um, Obviously, these folks have been essential workers well before the pandemic occurred. These are farm workers that are responsible for planting, plowing, distributing United States groceries all over, all over the U.S., but are doing so at extremely poverty wages. It was really interesting to watch the senators talk about the fact that they know how much the farm workers are being paid. They know some of the challenges that are facing the farmers, and that only because of this pandemic, these farm workers have been considered essential, and that the farmers are having a problem really getting immigrants to stay and work these jobs because the poverty wages are so low that they're actually not able to compete. So I thought it was something interesting. I'll drop the link for that in the group. We try to keep ourselves abreast on everything that's going on. But I thought it was interesting, especially around healthcare workers, because that's some of the conversation that I'm hearing now in our field. Like we talk a lot about how Amazon is offering $20 an hour now. McDonald's is offering $18 an hour now, and that means that many of our SPD technicians are now making less than some other types of service work. So check it out. Watch how things are going out there because it all does affect one another.
Definitely, definitely. Let me give you another round of applause for that.
Ah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
And definitely a round of applause for the money we will be making in the future.
Okay, because we will be making it.
Because yeah,
I
I
think
can
it's
see it.
good.
I can see it now.
I can see it
But
now. I mean, we've got, folks like us, we've got all these new podcasts that are out. We have folks that have, been pushing this conversation for a long time. So I think now that all of us are reaching out across, even across country lines at this point, to talk about our tools and how we're advocating for pay and how we're making cases for pay, we're definitely going to move the needle.
so I have a question for you on specifics, just to catch you off guard a little bit. Your see how your skills for explaining this
Oh,
would
in the
be.
process, hot seat. Okay,
So
okay,
yeah, the hot seat. Yeah. So I
okay,
have to get a little emoji or something for that too.
okay, okay.
So so when most hospitals say we're doing a evaluation, a market evaluation, right?
Yes, the market.
Because um you have 3 or 4 hospitals within your area. So though you do a market analysis based on, hey, okay, all these hospitals are making a certain amount, we're going to try and find a median to give you your share. So do you what other factors you think should play in that? Okay, so the way I'm thinking right now is, okay, if all these other facilities, right,
Yeah.
have all the equipment. They have tracking system. They have the washers. They have appropriate trays. They're fully staffed. The caseload is equivalent. Um, you have the washers. You you have they have the Vinci instrumentation. They have endoscopy processing. Some of them reprocess equipment. Some make rounds. Some have surgery centers they support, and some have surgery centers that are self-contained.
All right.
So, how do you factor all those things in when making a market evaluation to give persons that have less infrastructure to work with or more tasks to work with? How would somebody go evaluating that to give those persons the fair pay that they deserve? How do you
So
think? What's your opinion on
if you know,
that? Or
if
do they
we,
actually go into that,
I was
or
about to
just
say,
based on
because are we
numbers?
talking about my dreams, or or are we talking about reality?
Dreams and reality. Give me the dreams, then
Okay,
give me reality.
let's start with the dreams. So my dream, and I know that there are different companies, there are different even oversight agencies that are trying to figure this out. But essentially you're gonna have to apply some type of time quotient to the work that you're doing. You're gonna need to be able to take that labor in minutes because that's how you're paying for it. You pay for it by the hour, so you're paying for it by the minute. You're gonna need to be able to take that shift or that workload and break it down into a math equation. um, Now, how you break that math down is where you see a lot of variation in the industry. Currently, you can find SPD departments that are budgeted based on a unit of service. So when I say unit of service, that is essentially I'm trying to find like non-manager ways to say these things, like more business. I need to
Mhm.
do some researchy ways to say that, but essentially, your unit of service is how much money or time it's going to take for you to get that item done and what you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
reimbursed for that. So SPD is kind of in a pickle in the sense that we don't get reimbursed for anything. For most SPDs, I know there's a handful out there that are that are actually charging for services, which I think is the future. But most of the time you're just considered an expense because you're not making money for the hospital. So they're going to take that unit of service and they're going to multiply it by that case volume. So like if your unit of service is minutes, maybe they say, for every 100 minutes in the OR, SPD uses 4.5. However they come up with these numbers. And depending on how many cases you do or the length of those cases, that would determine what they're considering your budget. I've seen units of service based off of OR minutes. I've seen them based off case volume. Some more, I would say, sophisticated places are doing like a mix of trays. So they've kind of tried to find a way to take how many trays or the complexity of the trays that you're doing and give it a number. I've also seen that come from places like I think Amy did that a few years back where they had like a numbering system where like a level 1 tray would be like a major tray and a level 4 tray would be like a lap set or a complex loaner kit, but they had a different time quotient. So if a technician picked up, excuse me, 40 level 4 trays, that would not get counted the same way as a technician that picked up 40 level 1 trays. So there are different ways to calculate productivity. We can definitely do a productivity episode because now with the tracking systems, that's a whole. I mean, you can run reports out of those systems like nobody's business. But that being said, you can also get lost in the sauce in those productivity reports too if you don't know what you're looking at. So
Mm-hmm.
there's lots
True.
of different ways.
True.
My dream is that it actually gets added, that it's a time based quotient based on the complexity of the thing that you're doing. So, if let's just say if we're just going by an hour, a truly complex tray like something lap or flexible scope or loaner instruments, depending on the complexity of them, would be level 4, let's just say, based off that Amy logic. And, my C section tray, maybe that one's a level 1 because they take, maybe 15 minutes of touch time. Touch time is another big thing you'll hear. That's another way that they calculate those minutes is by how many minutes is it going to take that SPD tech to put their hands on this thing to get it from the time that it comes into decontam until the time that it comes into sterilizer.
Hmm.
Although I will say a lot
Interesting.
of my techs think that the only way that we calculate productivity is based on the number of trades that you do. And I can tell you for most high level facilities, that's not accurate at all. They're looking at a mix because usually it is going to be an SPD leader that's looking at it. So I know that on a normal day, you should have a mix of trays because you should have gotten a couple of majors, you should have gotten a couple of complex sets, you should have thrown down a couple of pill packs just because of the way that the work works.
Mm-hmm.
Or the same thing for decontam. Like if it's you and one other person in decontam, I shouldn't see all the flexible scopes on that person's name and then all the loaner trays on your name unless that's something that we've established in our workflow.
Yeah,
Um, but try to keep
because
it
some
fair.
some units are moving to assignments,
Yeah.
assignment specific departments.
Yes.
Um, I really have questions about that because I mean in
I don't
today's
like it.
day, we have a lot of we're short staffed sometimes, and
Yes.
having specialty personnel in certain areas when you have those shortfalls or your those
Yeah.
downtimes
Right.
in staffing,
Your volume
um,
goes up and your
your
staffing goes
volume goes up.
down.
Then
And the
you
only
have
person
somebody
that knows how to do this is calling off.
exactly. Exactly. And then and one thing too, like if you're doing the same trays, you could basically do that tray without the count sheet. Basically, let's just face it. Like you're gonna know that a certain instrument is missing every time, but you may not
Yeah.
mark it down because it's always missing and they never ask for it. So
I was so
someone coming to do that tray, someone coming to do that tray who hasn't been there in 3 months. would put it missing or actually keep that tray down because of that instrument, and that's a loss right there. So like,
Yeah, but I mean,
you
see now
shouldn't,
you
but
about
it
to
it
have me. I'm about to
happens.
say, so you finna have me going off on manager tangents because
It shouldn't, but it happens.
this is how you end up 4 months later with somebody complaining that the thing is always missing but nobody replaced. Well,
Right,
because
right, right.
you weren't doing the count sheet because you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
everything.
yeah. But you have Tommy working in author for three
Now here
years.
come Tommy. He knows, so he putting the kid up. Now here come Jessica. She don't know, so she putting
You're
the tray down.
on the shelf,
Everybody
right,
pissed off at her because the tray's supposed to be up. See,
right,
y'all can't have your cake and eat it too.
right,
Get a process in
right.
place.
Exactly. I've seen it happen many times.
Many
That
times we do it all the time, y'all. But
So, and
we
then,
disaster.
there sometimes there are a couple of people who actually relate to the OR techs or the OR
Yeah,
nurses, and they
they
converse.
build them good
So they
relationships.
know, they actually know that we don't use this all the time. If
Yeah,
you have this, you could just put it, if we're missing this, we could just put it down. Now,
yeah.
this person coming in has no idea,
But you
you
know
know.
what though? That's that insider knowledge that we're talking about. One of the things, oh man, I should have wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it real fast in the group. So one of the things that came up in the group, I think it was you that was stirring the pot talking about Deacon Tam so easy a caveman can do it. The shade of it all. So
Yeah,
so
it was one of those days for me. I'm like, you know what?
just the shade of it
Yeah,
all.
just see what other people are thinking. I just
You
wanted to
know.
see what other people are thinking at that point, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
There was a great I think it was Sharon came by and dropped a comment from UCDI, right? I think I gotta
mhm.
find it. I want to make sure I say this stuff right. But she dropped a comment. Here we go. And I was like, this is so true, but it's why I be so sad for my technicians a lot of the time. Oh
Yeah,
no, I don't see
because
it. Oh, maybe it was in a different group
a
that
lot
she.
of people think they could do the job, but just look
Well,
in when the OR has downtime and they say, what area do you want to go and help out today? No one volunteers. Almost no one volunteers to go down to CSS or cell processing. You
okay,
know.
so we're not gonna look. We're not gonna get to complaining because we already know the answer to that question. I
Yeah.
think it was
So
in a different group that she made that comment because I don't see it in the process when I'm
let me.
looking. But but essentially, it was just saying that leadership is an internal job, right? It's an inside job.
Oh, that
Um,
was for the comment. You think I'm important because my badge says tech. You think I'm
there
not
we
a
go,
leader because my badge
technician.
says technician.
Thank you. Okay, so I was on the wrong one. So let me keep scrolling. See, we be so active in this group, and I'm like, where's she at? Okay, yes. So Sharon said, to this meme that says, "You don't think I'm a leader because my badge says technician," right? We've heard that a lot from the texts, that they feel like the conversation is only centered around management and C-suite, and that people do not see regular SPD techs as leaders, right? But that's definitely not true. Sharon came in and said, "Leader is an inside job and an inside position," and that's a quote from UCDI,
Mm-hmm.
which is so totally true. Leadership is an inside job. I really don't feel that you can truly train people to have leadership skills if they just do not have them. Like I can build them up in you, but if you don't have integrity, that's not something that I can really train you to.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, as a manager, so often, and I speak on this too because this is how I came up as a tech. I would definitely not have my position as a manager if I hadn't had the attitude that I had, which is I'm just going to do it. I see that something needs to be done, and I'm just going to get it done. There are so many SPD techs like that in our industry where maybe we don't have a lead tech position, or maybe we have a position but nobody has filled the leadership for whatever reasons have not filled it for months, Maybe same thing for supervisors. Maybe that supervisor position has been sitting out there, and maybe you don't have the qualifications, so it's just open. But you're actually doing that work on the floor. You're ordering, you're doing payroll, you're making schedules, all that stuff without a title. And I think it's such a delicate balance, because that's one of the easiest ways to get noticed by leadership and get promoted, especially if you don't have all of the credentials. A lot of times, if managers and directors see that person going above and beyond, they will keep that in their mind and they will tap that person when a new position becomes available. But also, which also happens very often, is that those technicians do that work and they never get those roles. They never get compensated
True.
for it. They never get the title, or maybe they get fed up with it after a while and they move to another facility. And so you really end up at a loss, because you can't then put that on your resume and say, okay, for the last year and a half, I've been acting as a supervisor. I've been acting as a lead tech. I've been acting as a manager. I've been acting as a director. But I can't claim it because it wasn't my official title. So I think, it's hard, because you want to stand out. You want to take those opportunities to get noticed. Also, a lot of times we're doing it because it's patient care related, right? It's not like it's something that if you just leave it, somebody else was going to do it. So
Exactly.
a lot of times we just end up in
Exactly.
those roles because nobody else was volunteering for that. But
True.
I would love to see those technicians get recognized in the form of compensation, because anytime there is that level of duty, it should be rewarded with the same language that we all speak, which is money. That's the same, language the surgeons are getting paid, the nurses are getting paid, SPD techs want to get paid. And we also see, as managers, we see when senior leaders, when surgeons, when other folks are getting bonuses that SPD techs will never see. Like most of my SPD techs are not going to get a yearly bonus of a couple $1,000s. But my RN partners are used to that. Happens all the time for them in some of their roles. So, it's a challenge, because it's something where we want to make sure we're not just standing out here saying, pay us, you know, just because. But I don't think that's the conversation any of us are having. We have a lot of valid reasons why we can say we always should have been making more. You would actually have a better business if we were making more. You'd have a better return on your investment if we were making more. But the biggest benefit is that your patients actually are safer when your technicians are happy, healthy, and whole, and that includes them being compensated and able to take care of their families.
So true. So true. Should I drop a bomb on that one?
No, don't do it, D. Don't do it to
No,
him.
don't do it.
Don't do it to him. We
All
got a
right.
who is our Facebook user says competence versus competent confidence very different. Very drop a bomb on that.
I like that one.
Very different, and it matters, man. But we don't want to keep losing our vets. We don't want to keep losing our vet techs, our managers, our directors to low wages and low poor staffing and just all this mess, and especially within the team environment. Like, I don't want to see any more of this, like, technicians bashing travelers and all that stuff. Like, these people are just trying to make money just like everybody else.
So true. So
Yeah,
true. So true. They're just trying to work.
they're trying
There's
to work. And they actually left their families, their homes to work because you said you needed help. Like, a lot of times people will find like the bill rate pages, like maybe a manager printed it out and dropped it somewhere, and an SPD tech picks it up and they're like, oh my God, the traveler next to me is making $100 an hour. No, they're not.
hmm
No, they aren't. Their company is billing $100 an hour, but ain't
hmm
nobody paying SPD techs $100 an hour.
Exactly.
They're just not
Exactly.
doing it.
But then again, do you see a bias in the way people treat the
This is not a
the
question.
traveler.
I was about to say you don't even have to. We're not even gonna lie on
there
today.
is there is a bias because why is the
There's
traveler
one
coming
hundred.
in only doing general, and I'm running around prep and pack. I'm emptying the washer,
My
emptying the car. What?
question
Why?
to you is why haven't you taken that up with your manager? Because if the traveler comes in and they get assigned to the general trays, it's actually your manager's job to make
Mhm.
sure that they are rotated. However, y'all already established y'all were rotating. But we see travelers come in, like we talked about this last week with Hank. They come in, and because the departments are so depleted, the manager's so stretched, travelers don't even get comped most of the time. So they put them in general because I know at least if you got a certification, I know you can do a couple of trays. That's the
True.
logic. You know what I mean? Like that's the logic. Or ask a traveler. They'll tell you more often than not, they end up in decontam. They end up in decontam because again, manager's logic is I'm gonna put that person in the basic environment and I'm gonna take my vets that have all that competence that the Facebook user is talking about. I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna put them on the floor. So now my traveler gets to spend, 13 weeks in decontam. And nobody complains on those days.
True, true. So true. You got
I
a
don't think it's
point there,
fair.
but then you
I
have
mean, it's
those
not
departments.
fair.
You have those departments. It's not fair when you see like because
It's not
all
fair.
you're looking at is the money. You're looking at
Yep.
I'm doing twice as much work for half the money that that person is here for. Now I'm not
But
blaming that specific.
I'm about to say, and all I'm asking y'all is whose fault is that?
Right. I'm not
That's not
blaming
the
the
traveler's
traveler.
fault.
The
But
traveler is
a
just
lot of
coming
times
in.
people put a lot of pressure on those travelers. They make them feel uncomfortable. Then they don't want to answer their questions. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's just it's I believe the managers are putting the other workers at a disadvantage or at least
100%.
making it uncomfortable for
100%.
them to work. Like you're looking next to you and you're like, I'm knocking out 50 and they're knocking out 20 and
I've seen it happen both ways. I've seen it where travelers come in and their productivity is so high that it makes you wonder if I had a department that was all of these type of techs, what type of department would I be working in right now? And that's with or without leadership. Like it would just be a different place. I've had travelers come in and they're doing 50, 60 kits a day and the perm staff might do 10, might do 10,
true.
and then vice versa, where vets are throwing down in their facilities, and then you have travelers come in and they coasting. So, like, to me, again, it's personal integrity and leadership. Because
True.
personally, you should do your work. You're trading a trade, right? You're trading these kits for these patients for your cash. You should come in there and give it what you got.
So
But
here's the post.
come on.
You don't think I'm a leader because my badge says technician. So that's the post UDCI commented on, Sharon.
Yes.
Um,
And was so right. It's an inside job. Leadership is an inside job. Because look, even with poor management, if every SPD tech approached that traveler like that, that traveler in and of itself is going to have a different experience. Like, I mean, because if you've never been a traveler for, this might be challenging, but not every facility is the same. I know it's crazy. Um, so right, like it's not the same. So education is not the same. Resources are not the same. Equipment, you don't know what they came from. You could have 25 years in the field at one facility, and that sounds great on paper, and that is great. But because of the place that you were at, you never saw open heart surgery, or you never saw Da Vinci instruments. Does that make
mhm.
you less of an SPD tech when you land at a bigger facility or a more complex facility and you've never seen that stuff before? No. But vets will make you feel like that.
True,
But I guess it's an opportunity for education. You never know what you're gonna
true,
find out here. You should be
true.
willing to be like, okay, you never seen that before. Let me show you a little bit of basics about vascular.
And
Because
then
remember, you all had a first day. Don't
yeah,
forget
and then
that.
that leads into a whole other topic of bullying in the workplace,
Come
which
on.
happens a lot based on your knowledge. Everyone doesn't know everything, especially you see
No.
someone coming in as a supervisor or in leadership, and you're like, oh, you don't know this? No, I
Mm-hmm.
worked 10 years in or 15 or 20 years in a small community hospital. We never
Yeah.
did Da Vinci. Like, if your leader is asking you for help of something, doesn't mean they're just incompetent. It means they probably never had
They
experience in
just
that
didn't.
specific area. They
And
probably
and it's a signal that I respect your knowledge because
exactly.
I thought that you know and I wanted to come and ask you.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. As you said earlier, every facility is not the
It's
same.
not the
So
same.
someone may come in, not have experience with Da Vinci, may not have that much cardiac experience.
Yeah. Yep.
Certain things people come in and they only maybe they might know only general,
Yeah.
basically. So like we definitely have to address bullying in the workplace. Like
We have
everyone is
to.
not going
I
to know
mean, we have to
everything.
address bullying in general. We see it all over American culture, especially, just thinking about our industries. It's a big problem and people are getting picked on for literally everything. We've all been in school and it almost feels like high school never stops sometimes. They'll pick on you because of the color of your skin, because of your gender, because of your height, because of your weight, because of what country you're from, your accent. It's like basically whatever is different from them, some people are
Mhm.
inclined to pick on it. But in a healthcare environment, I really do feel like bullying will get people killed. I don't mind to say stuff radical. It'll get people killed because essentially what happens is that person now becomes apprehensive and scared about being in this environment. So they start trying to shrink themselves. They're trying to be quiet. I'm coming into break room. I'm kind of in the background. If something bad is happening, something off policy, something breaks down, I don't feel like part of the community anymore. I don't feel like I can come talk to anybody because every time I talk to them, they pick on me. So I don't say
Mhm.
anything. Guess who ends up getting hurt at the end of that line? Our patients.
Mhm.
So come
So
on.
very true.
we
So
had a
very
we had
true.
a guy, or no, I believe we had um a young lady in the comments ask a question about that, about in servicing, and like, is team building and teamwork a good in service topic? Yes, it's a very good in service topic. It's very timely. Emotional intelligence, team building are very critical because if you have a group of people that don't feel like they are a team, they're going to drop the ball in ways that are going to affect our patients at the end of the day. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, I mean, I know amongst the leaders, I'm considered kind of feisty, but it's one of the reasons why
You feisty? How? Oh
I
my!
don't know what
Now
I
that's a
don't know
lie.
where they get this from.
That's a bold face. And
I don't know because
let me shout out our viewers for the night so far. Marie Brewer, really appreciate you
hey
watching.
Marie,
A round of applause. Um, Bill Gilligan, thank you again.
oh Bill, hi. I'm
So guys, thank
excited.
you. Thank you
This
for
is
tuning
what
in.
I love so much about the process is we have everybody in the peri-op department here. This is not just a SPD conversation. We have anesthesia, we have peri-op nursing directors, we have SPD techs, we have scrub techs from the Navy. We got everybody in this room that is focused on patient safety today in their facilities right now.
Exactly, that's good. Okay, I have a question. Now, anyone, like, even if you're not watching this live right now, I want you to put your comments in there.
Come on, put your
So,
comments
and
in.
don't give me the answer that everybody knows because
We
I know
want
the
to hear the
answer.
break room. We want to hear the break room version of your answer on the
I want to
process.
know what you think, even if it's not politically correct, if it's
We
not
want to
written
hear
anywhere.
how you say it when your bosses ain't around.
Right, right, right.
Go ahead and say
It's not that type of question. But I think we had a little conversation about that earlier.
Okay.
So if your temperature and humidity goes out of whack,
Oh, come on.
how long should you
Why you
wait
do it?
before you break everything down, rewrap, reprocess everything? Now, I kind of know the answer. Now,
You
if there's
kind of, I'm about to
something,
say, you
if
kind of
there's
know the
something
answer, or
I
you
don't
gonna
know,
let the
that's what I don't want to
procrastination
head
come back?
into. I don't want to head a politically correct answer. I wanted a real answer
I
that's
gave
not in
you.
the book.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you're
All
gonna
right.
give me the book answer, don't give me an answer. I want to
Okay.
know what you
Listen.
think.
So this is what I'm gonna throw down.
Right.
Next week, when we are on, I need to hear this phone call. So guys, cause D don't believe us that we really out here reprocessing all of those kits.
I
So
believe it.
I need y'all to call in for our show next week and tell us about a time that
Yeah.
you went outside, temp and humidity, for more than, let's say, for more than 2 hours.
Mhm.
What did you do? We want to know.
Yeah, we
So
want to know.
call us five
Call
five
in.
nine
Yep.
559 825 5773.
Yeah.
Call us and let us know.
What happened? How high was it? How low was it? What did
Come
you
on.
do
The
after? How
real
do you
world
measure it?
details. What did
What
you
does
do?
your policy allegedly say? You don't have to tell us that's your policy, but like,
Yes.
somewhere you
Allegedly.
used to work, what happened there, not where you're working right now, or somebody you used to know, or some department you heard of. You could phrase it like
Somewhere.
that. Um, so let us know exactly what happened, what you think. And look, don't give me the book answer. I know what's in the book. I want the answer
We
on
want
the
to know
street,
what you,
or
okay, we want to
what
know what
you
did
do.
you did.
So
Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Allegedly. That's going to be my new favorite word.
yeah. Tell me
But I
what
want to
you
know
heard.
because, hey, I know some of us have had power outages. I know some of us have had that sprinkler go off in their department and all those trays got exposed to that lovely black water that comes out of there. All kinds of mess. So I've even had sterilizers in one place that started smoking and the room filled up with smoke allegedly. So
You gotta change the radiator fluid in that.
you know,
That's why you gotta change your radiator fluid every 300 cycles.
ooh, and when y'all call in, I want to know too. Are y'all tracking still manually your temp and humidity, or do you have some type of tracking system that texts you or emails you when you go out of range? I'm curious because we hear so much about
Mm.
the tech, but I know that
Does
there's
it?
hospitals out there that
But
still go
does it
manual.
even alert you though? Does it even alert you that
Does
it's
it
going on the
alert?
range?
And did you wake up? No.
But does it just let you know, or does it alert you? Because
It depends
I've
on
had
your system.
yeah, I've had experiences that it would be high for a long period of time, and until you take a look at it, you would know that your weekend you went out of range for almost the whole day.
Come on.
You know?
Oh, that's another good question. Who is responsible for checking your temp humidity? Because
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's facilities, sometimes it's anesthesia. I've seen all types of things. So we are curious.
Yeah, yeah,
Settle,
curious. Yeah,
settle this debate
but
between the two of us,
yeah, simple questions have complex answers. So give
right?
us
Have
the
multiple complex answers.
multiple complex answers. So give us the answer to this question. I'm curious as to what do you do when your temp and humidity goes out of range?
Yes.
And when ANSI, let me see. Hold on one second.
Okay,
Hold
because
on.
he
Let
was
me
going
get
off
myself out
earlier,
the.
y'all. He was like ARN, Ash Ray, Amy, everybody saying something different. I was like, okay. I was just reading the standards. That's it.
So I got
He came from my
I know
head like ah.
so I know what's in the book. I know what I have the book. Okay,
He know what's in the book.
I
He
know
want
what's
to
in the
know
book.
what y'all doing.
I want to know what you doing. I have the book. Okay, so let
Have
me
mercy.
so let me know what you're doing. All right.
This, I mean, the amount of books that we have to flip through alone is another reason why we need another.
True. So true.
Yeah. Oh my God. I wanted to shout out VA nurse Cheryl Perry Elder. So I know if you guys have been following the process, you guys should be familiar with Cheryl. She did an episode with us. We're so excited. She joined us on Saturday during the process walk, the Saturday walk. Again, if you guys haven't joined us yet, get in the room. Oh my goodness. These they be cutting up on their day off. That's all I'm gonna say. And and Cheryl joined us and she gave us so much knowledge about the VA system.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be doing an episode on the VA system coming up here shortly, and Cheryl will be joining us. But Cheryl was in the comment section of the process this week, and one of the things that she said as a VA nurse, she said, and I quote, I have been a trauma OR nurse, a vascular nurse, open heart nurse. This is still one of the most difficult jobs that I ever had. So I just thought that, that was truly profound. One, to hear it coming from our nurse partners because those allies matter. But for her to have been through all these various complex nursing fields and to still come out to say SPD is the most difficult that I've ever done. So that speaks volumes to what we do, guys. Please keep your eyes on the standards. Please keep advocating for your patients. If you need tools and resources, we are here 24/7 in the process. Drop your question. Give us a call, 559-825-5773. We want to hear from you and we are happy to help.
Very well said. So, and guys, we're gonna expand on that little news segment. So it's gonna have some up to date, more informative stuff, and we're gonna end every segment with a feel good story, so to speak. So, we only don't want to report the negative, but we do want to report the positive, what people are doing positive out there. So, anyone of you guys listening right now, if you're doing something positive in your community, in healthcare, in SPD, for your staff, your team, your facility, let us know and we will definitely put that on our news segment. All
Yes.
right, guys. So,
And SPD week is coming up in October. So if you guys have good plans or special shout outs, we would love to hear from you.
all right. So make sure you check out Alessandra, you need to work on that website.
I
I
know.
keep telling you, get that website together because I gotta put your link down there. I have to put your
Yes.
link. You
See,
know,
I stay in these SPD books so much. I'm like, he didn't got me doing a podcast. Now he want a website. I'm on assignment though. I'm gonna get it done. I'm
get
gonna get
that
it done.
website done. All right. Though when we get off the air, I will show you a couple things, and
Oh, you're
see,
gonna show me a couple
it's
things, huh?
it's not what you know, it's who you know,
There you go. All right,
right?
networking at its finest. Hey.
So so we'll work on that
That's
website.
what Hank said. He said networking, it matters.
It matters. It matters. So we'll get working on that website. And guys, if that's everything, we'll see you in the next one. Alessandra, anything else? And
No, you
check
guys
check
be
me out on
good.
sterilemd.com. I have some of my videos on there, and I'll be posting all these videos. Check me out on YouTube. All our shows are on YouTube, Sterile MD. Type it in, click, like and subscribe, and click that notification button so that when a show comes on, you'll not only be notified through Facebook, but you'll not be notified through YouTube. I know everyone doesn't use
Okay.
Facebook. People are
We
sometimes a
know
little
y'all don't
private.
want to miss an
You don't want your
episode.
family knowing when you're on because that little green icon comes up when
Okay,
you're on
go ahead
Facebook.
and tell them I'm
You
live,
know,
ma.
I'm,
I'm
so
live.
you could use your little YouTube discreetly, and
There you go.
you won't have to be bothered with all the notifications, emails, people trying to message you and stuff like that. So get that
Yes. And
YouTube
pop over there
um,
to the Sterile MD
down. And
episode.
also, I'll definitely put all the links in the description for this. Get your t-shirts from the Etsy store. We have the processed t-shirts at the Etsy store, and all the links will be in the description. So, guys, just support the show, support the YouTube channel, and then we will be coming to a seminar near you shortly. So you will be able to talk to us, ask us questions, how we got this started, what other endeavors we have going on, where we are in
See,
the field,
see, D, this
and
is
maybe you
exactly
might be on
why.
the show one day. So just come on, come out, support, please, and we'll see you guys in the next show. Is that cool with you?
That's cool with me. I was about to say, see, this is why I got to get my Cylindra year calendar because I literally almost forgot. I have another healthcare panel coming up this time in Oakland.
Hmm.
So the process will be live in Oakland on August 14th. It's gonna be it's called Sean E Summer Jam. This is a family friendly event, outdoor event with live performances, a panel discussion, vendors, and more. It's going to be from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 8055 Collins Drive in Oakland. And this panel discussion is going to be centered around Black health and awareness in the healthcare environment. So we'll be there, talking about it from a surgical standpoint, but there are going to be folks there, nurses there, mental health there. So if you guys want to come out, bring the kids. The process will be there August 14th.
That's very interesting. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Big things going on. So guys, we will see you in the next one. I might be doing an interview actually on the weekend. So Saturday morning, I think look out for that one. I'll have to finalize everything, but it's somebody you guys all know, and she's a great she's done a lot in the field, so definitely. Alessandra, I don't even think I've told you about it, but I think I mentioned it before.
I'm excited. The last time you told me that we
Yeah,
had a
but
big guest and
I
you
just want
didn't
to
tell me who it
confirm
was, Hank
everything
showed
before.
up. So don't get
Yeah,
the SPD nerd in me going now.
yeah. So
I'm gonna
yeah,
just
we
stick to Saturday.
definitely. But we'll, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Let me do one last thing, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.